What's up, guys? It's George, and today is day 7 of my solid food vacation, my fast, my deep cleanse, and I feel absolutely amazing. And I'm excited to share with you guys about what all I experienced, my specific results, how I did this, why I decided to do this. But real quick, first, take a look at these day-by-day transformation pictures to be able to see for yourself. So as you can see, a lot happened in just 7 short days. To be specific, I actually lost 14 pounds, which is crazy. This is the lightest that I've been in 3 years. I lost over 2 inches around the waist. A lot of my pants and shorts I noticed were getting pretty loose on me. And the thing is that blows my mind, it's like, where did this 14 pounds come from? I mean, I didn't lose just 14 pounds of pure fat. I didn't lose 14 pounds of muscle mass, because as you can see, I still got my muscle mass and everything. Maybe lost a little bit of muscle mass. But where did the rest of it come from? Well, what I believe is that a lot of it came from my digestive system, because throughout the whole process, I was still making bowel movements every day, up until about the 4th day. Then after that, they pretty much stopped. And then from there on out, to keep the momentum going and to keep cleaning out my digestive system, I started doing enemas. Oh snap. This is part of it, guys. The master cleanse. If you know what this is, you know what time it is. Alright, and I'm all done. Just like that. And like that one guy said in that movie, Next Friday, I feel 10 pounds lighter. And when I was doing those enemas, still solid waste was coming out of me. And I hadn't even eaten any solid food. And so it just blows my mind to think that, we have all this, this literally crap inside of our digestive system that can be sitting there for so long, putrefying, leaching toxins back into our body. It said that the average person is walking around with over 10 of their previous meals still in their digestive system. And we don't think about our digestive system a lot, but in a lot of, medicine, Ayurvedic medicine and Chinese medicine, it's said that, life begins and ends in the colon, that about 80% of all diseases and illnesses spawn from the digestive system. And so the healthier that your digestive system is, the healthier that you're going to be. The less sick that you're going to be, the better that you're going to feel. So I've actually been doing enemas for years. It's incredible. I swear, after you do one, you just feel like this high for like 2 days afterwards. And so if you've never tried one, don't be grossed out about it. It's not like what you think, and it's a great. And for those of you that think something like this is weird, think about what else is weird. Taking a pharmaceutical drug for all of your problems, something that has all kinds of side effects that you don't really know what's in it or what it's going to do to you, the long-term effects. That's a little weird. Think about it. Stick to natural solutions. I also successfully quit coffee as well. That's something I've been thinking about for a while, and so I thought, you know what, why not just do it at the same time? And so, how hard was this whole 7-day cleansing, fasting, solid food vacation? Well, the first 2 days were, the most challenging. I kind of knew what to expect just because I've done intermittent fasting. I did a 3-day water fast before in the past. Actually, 1 day every single week for the past couple of years, I do a fast where really it's just a cleanse. I don't eat any solid foods or anything like that, just to kind of, help clean up my digestive system. But never anything this extreme where I went for 7 days. And so this was, totally something new for me. But those first 2 days were really the toughest. And it could have been a combination of, going to withdrawals from the caffeine and withdrawals from food, hunger, different things like that. But I just remember those first 2 days at night just feeling like, really tired. And I didn't really sleep very good for the first couple of days. But I did train every single day throughout this whole experience. I went to jiu-jitsu, did hot yoga. Today I did a 15-mile bike ride. And I felt like I've gotten stronger and more energetic every day since, which has been really weird. One of the weirdest things that I've noticed is that by like day 4, it was just like I just kept getting happier and happier and happier. It's really weird. And when I went on YouTube and I started listening to other people's experiences and stories from people that have done solid food vacations and juice cleanses and things of that nature, that they said the same thing, that all of a sudden it was just like you just feel like so happy for no reason. And I think the reason why is because, so many people are walking around with just junk in their digestive system. And I mean, we're all human, we all have cheat meals sometimes. We all, are exposed to toxins in our life. Nobody is perfect. And, if you're carrying around all this waste inside of your digestive system, and you're going around with toxins in you, then no wonder why you're going to be more irritable and upset and things like that. And so that's why I think when you do something like this to just really clean out the pipes, just clean out the digestive system, that no wonder you're going to feel happier, because you're not being exposed to these toxins that have maybe been in your system for a while. And so that was just something that was really weird. I went to the grocery store today to get some things for breaking my fast tomorrow, and it was like I just felt like so smiley and happy. And even on Friday, there was a couple, during my business day, there was a couple of things that happened that rightfully could have pissed me off. But it was like nothing could faze me. It was like, oh yeah, okay. It was like nothing could get me upset. I mean, I just felt like so peaceful, very spiritual. Played the guitar for a couple hours last night while watching the sunset. I just feel like I'm on like cloud 9 and very energetic. I cleaned my whole house today. Energy is through the roof. And if you go and you look at other people's stories, of who do these types of things, juice fast and deep cleanse like this for extended periods of time, you'll hear that same thing. That it's like the first couple of days are the hardest. And then after that, it's like magic just starts to happen. You just feel more energy by the day. You start to feel happier. And it's like, it almost gets to the point where it's like, if I feel this good like this, then why ever even go back to eating food? Obviously I'm going to go back to eating food, but just because you feel that good, it's like, you don't want this high to end because you feel so incredible. And so it's been, quite amazing on that. Also, another really interesting thing that I noticed is that day by day, I noticed less and less brain fog. My thoughts were thinking clearer, thinking faster. It was like, I just couldn't think fast enough. And my attention has just been like laser focused. I mean, normally I'm pretty ADD. I mean, I'll be one of those people in the gym who will do a set and all of a sudden just be kind of like zoned off, and someone will walk by, who are you there? But I have not been like that at all. Like no daydreaming, just like totally dialed in, like thinking like crazy. That's been an awesome benefit, right? And it kind of reminds me of the story that I read, Unbroken, which was based off the movie Unbroken that Angelina Jolie wrote and directed. That's based off a true story about the guy who was a World War pilot and fighter and crashed into the ocean, and him and several men lived on a raft for, I think it was like 47 days. They had no food, no water. They were completely malnourished, and they were just drinking water that they were collecting from like the rain. They were, if they were lucky, they would get like a fish every now and then from the ocean to eat, like once every couple of days. And by the end of it, they were like, it was just like skin and bones. And I remember in the book him saying that, like, even though he was so malnourished, he could not believe how clear that he could think. That it was just like he could visualize his entire life. It was like, everything, like his brain was working better than it had ever worked before in his entire life. And there's something magical about fasting, about what it does to your brain. It just, for some reason, it's just kind of like the opposite of when you eat like a Thanksgiving dinner and you feel all lethargic and I just want to lay back. When you're in that fasted state, it might not always be comfortable. Maybe you're hungry, but you do think sharper. And that's why a lot of people like intermittent fasting and things like that, because they find that instead of having a big breakfast in the morning, that by holding off till later in the day, that they work better in the morning and so forth. They're more productive, they think better quality of work. So why did I decide to do this? Well, I've wanted to do this for a long time. I know a lot of really healthy people that do these annual types of fasts. One of my friends, she owns a raw vegan restaurant that's really popular by me, and once a year she does a 6-week cleanse like this. She works out every day. And I remember I asked her husband, I was like, is she like a total bitch the whole time, like really grumpy? And he's like, no, you wouldn't believe it. He's like, she's like extremely happy. She gets up earlier than me. She's working it. She's running like 6 miles every day while she's doing it. It's like, it's like she's on drugs or something, but she's in this fasted state for 6 weeks. I've heard Tony Robbins talk about, he has a program called the Life Wealth Mastery Program, where it's like a 9-day fast type cleanse. He's a big proponent of fasting and cleansing. I've heard Tony Robbins talk about this guy named Stu Middleman, who is a long distance runner who has set all kinds of records. He ran 1,000 miles in 11 days. And this guy, Stu Middleman, says that one of his secrets is once a year he does a 9-day fast, a 9-day cleanse. And that by doing that, it just like, flushes out, all the stuff out of his digestive system, resets his adrenals, cortisol levels, everything. And that's one of his secrets. And so there's something to doing this fasting. This isn't something that I would recommend doing all the time, but as a once a year type of a reset, yeah, definitely. This is something that I plan on doing once a year as an annual type of a reset. Next year, I'm going to try to see if I can go even longer. Maybe do like, 14 days. Also, if you've ever seen the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, that guy in the documentary, I remember he had an autoimmune disease that supposedly was incurable according to the doctors and experts and everything like that. But he decided that he was going to try to take matters into his own hands, see if by going back to nature that he could, potentially help himself. And so he did a really long juice cleanse, juice fast, and healed himself of his incurable autoimmune disease. And along his journey, he met other people and helped them to, heal them of different, incurable ailments and things like that. And so there's just something magical about doing this. Like I said, it's a way to, reset the system, just flush out all those nasty toxins and things that are in your digestive system, and allow your body to heal. When you do a cleanse like this, it allows your body to heal. Anytime you start eating something, what happens is that your body stops cleansing, and when you are in a fasted state, that's when your body starts healing. That's why when you're sleeping, you're really fasting while you're sleeping. That's why breakfast is called breakfast, breaking the fast. So all throughout the night, you're resting, your body is healing itself. And then once you eat, then your body stops cleansing, and then it goes into digestive mode. And so when you really just take the time to just shut down your digestive system, then your body can use all that extra energy to activate the lymphatic system, activate the cleansing system, the kidney, the liver, just go to work in healing your body. And so a lot of people, will find that when they do these types of things, weird ailments, maybe that they've had their whole life, just go away. Maybe they have had eczema or rosacea or like a warts or something like that, and all of a sudden they just vanish, and it's like, what the heck, I've had that my whole life, because all of a sudden finally the body had a chance to heal itself. So how did I do this? See, there's really two main types of long-term types of fast. There's water fast, and then there's juice cleansing. A water fast, that is where you're just consuming water. Now I've done that for 3 days. The reason why I chose to do more of a juice fast than a water fast is because from what I've researched, when you do a water fast, especially for like a week or 2 weeks at a time, it's extremely healing to the body. It really just puts the lymphatic system on overdrive and cleansing out the system and everything like that. But also from what I've researched and seen from other testimonials, that it can take a while to recover. It can take a week or two to recover from that. And during that time you're on that water fast, that you don't have as much energy, you might feel tired and things like that. And so for people that are working and parents and don't really have the luxury of just taking like a month off, of life, then a juice type of cleanse is your better option, a solid food vacation. And that's really what I did. I did a solid food vacation. And in that, you're having, cleansing juices, cold pressed juices, just no solid food. I mean, I haven't chewed my mouth to eat anything since last Sunday. And so that's, what I did. I chose to do that just because I have multiple businesses. I have a daughter, parenting, and I don't have the luxury of just, taking off, like a full month to, do nothing. And so I chose to do a juice cleanse. If you decide to do this, definitely do your research. Don't just jump into doing this tomorrow morning, unless you do a lot of research tonight. But, I did a lot of research before I decided to do this. I actually did this with one of my best friends as well. He's on Devin's day 7 at the same time. So if you want to do this, find an accountability buddy, accountability partner. And that way, every single day, you can check up on each other, see how you're doing. You can ask them questions. Hey, are you experiencing this? How do you feel? And so it was kind of cool to be able to have someone that I could do this with, to be able to reflect throughout this journey. And like I said, I'm definitely going to make this an annual routine. Next year, I'm going to shoot for even longer. Going to try to do 2 weeks, 14 days. And tomorrow I'm going to break the fast. You got to be easy on your system after you break a fast, especially after going this long. So what I'm going to do tomorrow, I'm not going to have, any extreme meals or anything like that. From what I've researched, a popular method for breaking a long juice cleanse fast like this is to soak prunes overnight in water, and then the next morning, about a pound of prunes, and then the next morning have that be your first meal. So that's actually what I decided that I was going to do for my first meal breaking this. And then the rest of the day tomorrow, I'm just going to, really have just light things, some shakes, some fruits and things like that. Nothing too heavy, just kind of want to see how I feel. And then by, Tuesday, the next day, we'll see where I'm at. If I made it through day 1, back normal again, feeling great, then I'll probably just move back into normal eating. And one last thing in closing thoughts that's really interesting is that when it was like day 2 or day 3 on this, I remember like thinking like, dang, when I get done with this, I want to like tear up, some food. Whatever. I just was like visualizing like pizza and chips and all kinds of things like that. But the weird thing is that all these cravings have gone away. Now I just can't, I'm excited to like start eating like fruits and veggies and really healthy food. Like I actually don't crave eating something, you know, like a junk food like pizza or something like that. And from what I've researched, one of the reasons why is because when you do something like this, your body gets more alkaline, and your body tends to want to stay in like a homeostasis type of a state. It likes to preserve whatever state it's in. A lot of people have very acidic bodies. You know, they're drinking soda, they're drinking, you know, all kinds of things. You know, they're eating foods that are really acidic, and so what happens as your body gets used to that acidic state, you just tend to naturally crave acidic food so that you can preserve that state that you're in. But as your body gets more alkaline and gets used to being alkaline, you actually don't crave those foods because of the fact that your body wants to preserve the state that it's in. So that's how I feel right now. Like I'm not craving junk food. You'd think after 7 days of not eating, you know, solid food that I would just want to like tear up, you know, an extra large pizza, but I don't feel like that. I'm actually, you know, like I said, I'm more craving. I went to the grocery store and I just dropped like almost $200 on fruits, veggies, all just healthy, you know, just raw fruits and veggies and things like that. Really healthy types of thing. That's the type of stuff that I'm just craving right now. And so for those of you that have any comments, any questions, or if you've ever done this before and have a cool story or experience to share, then please post it below so that other people can see it. And if you've never done this before, then hey, give it a try. Even if you don't do it a full 7 days for your first time, just try it out for, you know, even just 1 day for the first time. You know, it's not a contest. You know, try 1 day this year, maybe next year try for 2 or 3 days. And, you know, because you're in for a treat and you deserve it. You know, you can either pay now or pay later, but the greatest investment that you can ever make is in yourself and in your health. With that being said, guys, have a great day.